Hello everybody, we've essentially just gotten back in from DinoCon, so I've only just taken off my satchel, gotten back tucked in, but what I'm going to be doing is talking about some of the stuff we got up to on both of the days, some of the stuff I brought home, and some of the people I got to meet. So, let's go straight into day one. So, on day one there was a lot of stuff going on. There was a careers panel, a costume competition, which was quite entertaining to watch. We had a bunch of amazing talks, such as Matt Dempsey, Chelsea Niff, who talked about women in palaeontology, Vicky Cools, and of course David Armsby. You guys probably know him as Dead Sound. He does the Dinosauria series here on YouTube. He's a very talented and amazing creator, so if you haven't seen him, go check him out. But, of course, there was a massive other thing going on, such as the vendor hall. So DinoCon has actually only had two different locations. It was this year and last year, with this one being essentially double and more the size of the one the previous year. And the vendor hall was also double the size, so we had some truly amazing artists and paleo artists and creators and fossil hunters going into there and selling stuff, which was very great. And I'm going to go into what I bought in there and what we got up to. But we also did get to work in a paleo art workshop, so we got to do some very cool stuff in relation to thinking about how to make a piece of paleo art that depicts an animal doing a story, almost like it was captured in a moment in its lifetime. I got to choose a Velociraptor mongoliensis. I'll show you that in a little bit. We're going to move on to day two now. This is DinoCon day 2. So on day 2 there was again a bunch more talks. I also did sign Sam Neill's books. We were basically, there was a group of books which you could go sign, which would send sort of your hopes and well-beings to over to Sam Neill's family, which I think was a very nice thing to do. But no, on a more cheery mood, there was a lot of speakers on the second day as well. We had, obviously, Matt Dempsey came back in. We had David Armsby, who, that's when I personally went and saw him. I got to do a meet and greet, so here's a photo of me and him together. But it's a bit of a messy photo, but it doesn't matter. We had Tom Fletcher come in, as well as we also had the kind of legendary Tim Haynes. Now, Tim Haynes worked on Walking with Dinosaurs, all of the original series, Primeval, and a bunch of other different shows like that, and most recently Surviving Earth, so he gave us some very interesting talks about Surviving Earth. On this day there was also the Advanced Paleo Art Workshop, who, for people who pre-booked it, sadly we couldn't get a spot by the time we went to go book it. It had already been fully booked out, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not too big of a deal because I had a lot of fun doing the beginners anyway. But let's go on and move over to my desk and I'll show some of the stuff I got. Okay, hello everybody. I have absolutely no clue how this shot is going to come out. I've never done this with this camera before, but I'm going to just go through some of my stuff. Firstly though, I want to say something. So I was just scrolling through my TikTok and I got the notification, Coryphosaurus, obviously a pun on the word Coryphosaurus. I've had a couple people like Coryphosaurus say at DinoCon, I wanted to come up to you, but I was a bit too anxious to do so. And that's no issue. Honestly, I'm probably equally as anxious, never done this stuff before. But no, if you do guys ever want to come up, feel free to say hi, because I am planning to go to next year. But let's get straight into it. Firstly, this isn't my one. This was my mother's one. But this is the lanyard that we got when we were at DinoCon. So it's fairly basic, just the same stuff. We got the name, pronouns, which is nice, obviously, and we got the weekend pass. But it was really nice. I was sort of just expecting like a badge or something, but it was quite nice to see something like that. Now, this was mine. So I got the lanyard properly, so I have something to remember it by. And I got both of the badges. I don't know if this is going to show up too well or the light's going to smudge it, but it's it. DinoCon and Stegosaurus. Obviously, got my name written down with my pronouns. But no, I'm a big fan of the designs on these. The people who made these were really well talented at doing this. But we're going to move on to some of the actual stuff. Now, I haven't actually opened these yet. These are two, I believe, I might be wrong on this. If I say it and it's wrong and it's the wrong company, I'm almost certain these are PSNO or PNSO, I can't remember which way it's round, figures. I will get into those quickly later, but I want to put them aside just for now because they're a bit more exciting and I want to talk about some of my other stuff. But this was all of the stuff that came with your things. Obviously, I've got duplicates for my family, but there was a whole bunch of stuff, like there was talks about the Uncanny Valley Dinosaur Project. Obviously, this was the brochure. I'm going to get my brochure out quickly. I don't believe this is my one. Give me a second. It is actually. So this was the brochure I got, and I'm actually very, very lucky to have gotten the signing of David James Armsby. He is a very cool man, and his artwork is a big inspiration to a lot of people. So let me lift that up. There is his signature there, very nicely next to his Maiasaura. Now, let me just tidy this up a little bit. I do also want to talk about me, because weirdly enough, before going, I had the idea, brochure, why not to ask if I can be in it? So, I have a little, let me find it. I have an advert. That is me. So, if you saw this, that was me, and hello. Yes. So, next we're going to move on to something a bit more silly. It's not necessarily dinosaur-y, but it was from a very nice little area. So there was this woman, I believe her account, yes, Georgie Sutton Art. So if you haven't seen her, go check her out. But I got a very silly little cat in the rain coaster. My old cat coaster is crumbling to pieces. But no, I'm a big fan of cats, looks a bit like my old cat, and it matches the blue and orange theme of my room very, very well. Moving on to some very more cool stuff. Now, you may have seen this around. This is actually dinosaur related. Now, I don't know if you know the name, but this is from Vector That Fox. They've got some very, very cool artwork, and a lot of it is associated with the Jurassic Park novel, because that is a lot of the work that they do. Now, that's a bit of their logo. Now, if we turn it around, I've got this very cool stack of postcards / small images. You may have seen these around the internet, or Tinternet, however you want to say it. But no, these are all a bunch of different smaller images inspired by the original Jurassic Park novel. And I'm absolutely in love with them. Now, the one you're most likely to have seen is this one. It's of a rather unfortunate scene from the Jurassic Park novel of a mother walking in and Compsognathus saying, spending a bit too much time near their child. But yeah, no, these are some really, really cool pieces of art. I haven't got enough desk space to show them all, but they are all inspired by Jurassic Park novel, as I just said. I really like these artworks, especially because they talk about some stuff that you don't really get in the actual Jurassic World movie franchise. For example, the Carnotaurus. Or, if we're looking at it, it's one here. Here you go. In the book, there is the species of Carnotaurus that they brought back has the rare ability to camouflage. Obviously, we have no scientific evidence for that, but it's a very, very cool fact. And a lot of this you don't get to see in the show or films. So let's just go and put that all back away, nice and neat. But yes, like I said, as I'm going through this, if you guys have not seen these people, make sure to go check them out because they are some really, really talented people. Alrighty, now moving on to something very, very dinosaur-y is a print. Now I've made it sort of a challenge to myself at every event I go to, whether that be in local or somewhere else, to find a piece of art. And each time I'm trying to kind of get a piece of art from a different artist each time. This time it was from a very, very talented artist, Joshua Noop. Now, it's not an original, it is a print, but it is of two Yangchuanosauruses. And I have to say, it is an absolutely beautiful piece. I'm hoping this is showing up decently on the camera. Let me just move that light out the way real quick. Ooh, there you go, that's decent. Boom. Now that, you can see a bit better now. Sorry, my microphone just completely fell off. There you go. You can see a bit better now, but it is a really, really beautiful piece, and it matches the sort of colouring of my room very, very well. So I'm super excited to have this go up on my picture wall. Now, moving on to the final main thing that I bought, it is these, of course. So we're going to start off with the Ammonite. This is the Pleuroceros Ammonite by PSNO or PNSO. Again, I can never remember the way that goes around. I'm going to try to carefully get it open. So, you can really tell that this is very, very high quality, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I don't know if it's focusing, let's hope it is, but this is the figurine, obviously, of the Pleuroceros Ammonite. I'm going to have to find somewhere very cool to place this, but it is definitely a cool one added to the collection. I wanted to get some more marine animals, as I haven't got many of those in my collection. Now, moving on to a personal favourite of mine, the Anomalocaris. It's one of the few things I actually really have been wanting to get some more merchandise of in recent, especially of the teddy. I'm still trying to hunt down somewhere I can get that easily. But this already is looking like a beautiful figurine, and I'm super excited for this. Ooh. There we go. So this is the full Anomalocaris figurine. Is very cool. The details are absolutely insane, especially on these sort of mandible-like structures. I'm a big fan of the Anomalocaris. If you don't know about the Anomalocaris, it was a Cambrian species and was essentially the first large apex predator that we know of in the fossil record. They would have used these large mandibles to hold onto their prey, and they had a lining of almost teeth-like spikes along these, and they would use them to grab onto their prey and crush them. That would mainly be hard-shelled animals like trilobites or small ground-feeding animals. Hi, Editing Max here. That is not actually correct, I'm sorry. In a recent study based on 3D biomechanics, the Natural History Museum used and published a paper based on the structure of Anomalocaris' frontal appendages, and it basically says if they were to eat and crush a hard-shelled trilobite or something, the mandibles or frontal appendages would essentially break. The teeth essentially would also, or spines would also break. So that is wrong, I'm sorry. They would have probably eaten soft-shelled animals that would have lurked on the seafloor, or small invertebrates, stuff like that. Of course, it has its two signature tail fins. But no, those are all of the main things I bought, so I'm going to very quickly swap back over to my standing pose. I'll see you in a sec. Okie dokie, we are back standing up. I'm sorry if the camera angle is very, very slightly different. I have to move my tripod and pick up my camera and reattach it everywhere because my desk's there and my chair's there and I have to move it all around. But that's not the point. Anyway, I met a bunch of very, very cool people over at DinoCon. Essentially, I met a lot of my friends, which for a while have just sort of been faces on a screen, mainly other paleo creators. So that is people like Spike, Flinley, Ozzy, who I've become very close with, and UT, who I unfortunately didn't actually get to meet, but apparently they saw me walking around a lot. But no, it's been really, really cool actually meeting a bunch of people. I've also met your local federal agent and a bunch of other very cool people. Like I said earlier, I got to meet David Armsby, who is Dead Sound here on YouTube, and that was a very cool experience, very surreal. I didn't even realise that was an option when I first went there, but it has definitely been an absolute amazing weekend for me. If you guys haven't gone to this year's DinoCon and you are in the area next year, they have already said they are going to be doing another one. We don't know where it's going to be, but I am going to be going either way, as long as it's not too ridiculously far away from my home. But it's been amazing, and I really do hope next time, if some of you are going, you guys come and say hi. Anyways, that is all for this video. I know it's not too amazingly eventful. I didn't get too much footage, but there was a lot of driving and I didn't want to be that kind of person in the middle of a crowd holding up a camera and vlogging while there was a lot of people trying to walk through corridors, and I just wanted to have fun. But it's been really nice meeting a bunch of people. If you haven't seen the other people, go check them out like I mentioned, or the brands which I've mentioned, or the stuff I picked up, because it is very, very top quality and some amazing content. But anyway guys, have a good day. Subscribe for more. Go check out my Minecraft Dinosaurs videos if you like these, or my usual educational shorts, and go check out my other socials if you have the time. But anyway, have a good day.